You are fine. You said it again today. Someone asked, and you said it without thinking. Fine. Good. All good. And somewhere underneath that answer was the actual answer, which you did not say, which you almost never say, to almost anyone. This is not shyness. It is not emotional unavailability. It is something more specific than either of those things. And it started much earlier than you probably realize. There was a version of you that tried. Maybe you were 7, maybe 12. You brought something real to the surface, a fear, a hurt, a thing that was too heavy for the age you were carrying it at. In the room, did not know what to do with it. Maybe someone changed the subject. Maybe you were told you were being too sensitive. Maybe nothing was said at all, and the silence was the loudest thing in the room. Your brain filed that experience under a category it labeled with something simple. Showing this is not safe. And from that point forward, you became very good at managing the distance between what you felt and what you let anyone see. Here is what most people assume about people who hide their feelings: that they do not feel much, that they are stoic by nature, naturally private, built that way. And here is the belief reversal most people never consider. The people who hide their feelings most effectively are almost always the people who feel the most. The sensitivity that gets hidden is not smaller than everyone else's. It's often larger, more specific, more easily activated. And because it is more easily activated, it became the thing that most needed protecting. So they built a very effective system. On the outside, calm, composed, reliable, the person who holds it together, the one everyone assumes is fine. On the inside, a conversation that never stops running, processing everything, feeling everything, saying almost none of it out loud. Here is the pattern that forms over time. It starts as protection. If I don't show it, I cannot be hurt by how someone responds to it. That's a reasonable strategy for a child in a home where feelings were not met with care. But the strategy does not know when to retire. It runs into adult relationships where the conditions have changed, but the protection has not. And the person who learned to hide starts hiding from people who would actually have stayed. That's the quiet cost nobody names. Not the big dramatic cost, the small daily one. The partner who keeps asking, "Are you okay?" and keeps receiving "fine" until they stop asking. The friend who wanted to go deeper but couldn't find a way through, so they stayed at the surface, then gradually stopped showing up at all. The relationship that ended not with an argument, but with a slow mutual drift caused by one person never quite arriving. There's a specific moment people who hide their feelings know well. Something hard happens, real, heavy, worth saying out loud. And instead of saying it, they feel themselves go slightly somewhere else. A shutdown, subtle, fast, automatic. Not because they decided to shut down, because the system that protected them for decades activated before they had a chance to decide. Psychologist James Penbaker spent decades researching emotional suppression. He found that the effort of actively concealing emotional experience carries a measurable physiological cost: elevated cortisol, disrupted sleep, reduced immune response. Plain English, hiding your feelings is not neutral, it's work. Your body is doing it around the clock, and it costs something whether you notice or not. But here's where it gets more specific, because people who hide their feelings are not all hiding for the same reason. Some are hiding because they were taught that feelings were a burden, that needing things made you difficult, that being too much was the worst thing you could be. Some are hiding because they were the caretaker, the one who managed everyone else's emotions, who learned that there was no space left over for their own. And some are hiding because they were hurt, specifically in the moment they were not hiding. They showed something real, and it was used against them, or dismissed, or met with discomfort that became their responsibility to manage. Each of those is a different origin, but they all produce the same exterior, someone who is fine, always fine, reliably, exhaustingly, quietly fine. Here is what begins to change it. Not a decision to be more open. Decisions made at the surface don't reach the system running underneath. What changes it is smaller than that. It's noticing the moment before the shutdown, the half second between something landing and the system activating to contain it. In that half second, there's a choice, not to perform vulnerability, not to explain everything, just to say something true, one thing, to one person, without softening it into nothing first. You don't have to become someone who talks about everything. You are allowed to be private. You are allowed to process internally. You are allowed to take time before you speak. What you are not allowed to do and survive it without cost is hide yourself from everyone all the time, indefinitely. Because the version of you that never arrives is the version that cannot be loved. Not because people wouldn't love it, because they never get close enough to try. You were not broken when you learned to hide. You were intelligent. You found the adaptation that kept you safe in the conditions you were given. The conditions have changed. The adaptation has not caught up yet. And the people on the other side of that gap, the ones waiting for you to arrive, are worth the discomfort of beginning. If this landed somewhere specific, the video on why people who grew up too fast find it hardest to show when they're struggling will make even more sense of what you just heard. It's there when you're ready.